When you've spent decades together, you've earned the right to demand a symbol of your commitment, a ring that speaks louder than words. And when it comes to the royal family, they certainly don't disappoint. Queen Camilla, sporting a breathtaking diamond, held her place in the royal spotlight. But was this ring a symbol of unity, or a prelude to a storm that would unravel everything? The whispers have grown louder, and now, in a twist no one saw coming, King Charles is said to be furious, truly furious. According to reports, the monarch has reportedly kicked Camilla out of the palace, even going as far as demanding she return her wedding ring. Their marriage, which has weathered countless scandals, may have finally reached a breaking point. Sources close to the royal household suggest that the tension between the king and queen has been mounting for months. A time bomb just waiting for the right moment to explode. And when it did, it shocked even the staff who witnessed the aftermath. The question now remains, was this sudden outburst from Charles truly an isolated incident, or has a deeper resentment been festering beneath the surface for far too long? Join us as we peel back the layers of this royal debacle. This isn't just about one explosive argument. This is the unraveling of a marriage, a monarchy, and a queen consort who might just be about to face her greatest battle yet. The quiet tensions before the storm. For weeks, an undeniable tension had filled the air of the palace. The kind of tension that couldn't be ignored, even by those who worked there. King Charles, a monarch known for his adherence to tradition and control, had long walked a tightrope. Managing scandals, public relations, and the very image of the monarchy itself had been his life's work. But suddenly, things weren't going according to plan. At the heart of it all, Queen Camilla. The woman who had once been seen as nothing more than the other woman, was now stepping into the limelight more than ever. And the public was starting to notice. Giving speeches, appearing alone in public, even speaking to the press without the usual royal restraint, it seemed like she was no longer content to stay in the background. For some, this may have seemed like no big deal. But in the royal household, this was a breach of protocol that sent shockwaves through the palace. The monarchy, after all, is more than just about tradition. It's about control, and every word, every appearance, is planned to perfection. So when Camilla gave an interview without the palace's approval, it was seen as a direct challenge to Charles's authority. But what Camilla said in that interview would prove to be the final straw. She spoke confidently, perhaps too confidently, about her role as queen consort, hinting at future plans in ways that had never been discussed publicly before. Her words were bold, defiant even. And behind closed doors, it was clear to insiders, this was no longer about just public appearances. This was about power. And it was about control. King Charles, who had spent his entire life preparing for the throne, was enraged. His efforts to modernize the monarchy, all of the public relations work to secure trust, now felt like they were being undermined by none other than his own wife. Charles had always been a man of tradition, and to him, Camilla's boldness felt like an assault on the very institution he had spent decades protecting. A royal confrontation like no other. The confrontation that followed was explosive. Rarely seen in such a state, Charles confronted Camilla with an anger that left no room for doubt. His voice was sharp, his words cutting. Why hadn't she consulted him or the palace before making such an audacious statement? Why was she suddenly going against everything they had worked so hard to build? Camilla, known for her composure and poise, didn't back down. Instead, she stood her ground, her words steady but forceful. Being queen consort didn't mean she had to stay silent, she argued. She had a voice. She had a role beyond simply being the woman at his side. But Charles wasn't having it. This wasn't just about an interview. This was about loyalty. This was about trust. And it was about the very image of the monarchy itself. In a shocking escalation, Charles demanded Camilla return her engagement ring, a piece of royal history, and a symbol of everything they had fought to overcome. It wasn't just a ring. This diamond had once belonged to his beloved grandmother, the Queen Mother. It was a symbol of the years they had fought to be together, despite the scandals and the public's judgment. And now, in a moment of raw emotion, Charles demanded that Camilla return it. For a second, Camilla didn't move. She didn't speak. She simply stared at him, as though trying to process what had just been demanded of her. Then, with the quiet dignity she had always maintained, She removed the ring from her finger. She didn't argue. She didn't plead. She didn't try to justify her actions. She simply placed the ring on the table, turned around, and began to leave. What followed was nothing short of chaos. Camilla, the woman who had stood beside Charles through it all, was now packing her things. Staff members moved quickly, gathering only the essentials. No time for discussion. No time for questions. The weight of the moment was too heavy. Rather than waiting until morning, Camilla made the decision to leave Windsor Castle that very night. Security footage captured her departure, no grand speeches, no dramatic goodbyes. Just a simple, quiet exit. She stepped into the royal vehicle, accompanied only by her most trusted lady-in-waiting and a single protection officer. And just like that, she was gone. The palace was in turmoil. By morning, the royal household was in crisis mode. Senior advisors were urgently called in. Emergency meetings were scheduled. And all anyone could think about was how to contain this public relations nightmare. The royal family had already been under intense scrutiny, but this was a scandal that could shake the very foundation of the monarchy. The influence of Camilla has always sparked debates within the royal family. After her marriage to Charles in 2005, the official announcement stated that she would be known as Princess Consort when Charles became king. This decision was made carefully, considering public sentiment and aiming to avoid upsetting those still loyal to Princess Diana's memory. However, just before the coronation, the palace quietly changed her title to Queen Camilla. This move angered many, who saw it as a betrayal of the original agreement. Diana's supporters, in particular, saw it as proof that Camilla had always intended to take the throne, regardless of public opinion. The title change also created more tension between Charles and his sons. While William reportedly accepted the decision as part of his royal duty, Harry viewed it as further evidence that Camilla had rewritten history to her benefit. For him, it wasn't just a name change, it was a sign that Camilla had solidified her power, and there was nothing anyone could do about it. As Camilla settled into her new role, another controversy emerged, this time involving the royal staff. Reports surfaced that she had orchestrated a major reshuffle at Buckingham Palace, resulting in the dismissal of several longtime aides. Insiders claimed that Camilla wanted to surround herself with loyal people to gain more control over palace operations. One of the most notable departures was Angela Kelly, Queen Elizabeth II's former dresser and close confidant. Kelly had been fiercely protective of the late Queen's legacy, and there were rumors that she and Camilla had never gotten along. After Queen Elizabeth's death, Kelly was quietly moved out of her Windsor home and given a much smaller property. Many saw this as a clear sign that Camilla was now in charge and unafraid to make significant changes. As if all of this weren't enough, a new challenge emerged that shook the royal family to its core. In early 2024, the palace announced that Charles had been diagnosed with cancer. The news shifted the focus from royal scandals to concerns about the future of the monarchy. With Charles undergoing treatment, Camilla had to take on more royal duties. Some saw this as her chance to prove herself as a true queen, while others worried about what it meant for the monarchy's stability if Charles's health continued to decline. Camilla's influence could grow even stronger, especially if William had to step up sooner than expected. Throughout all of this, Camilla remained by Charles's side, as she had for years. However, despite their public displays of unity, whispers about the true state of their marriage continued to circulate. Some insiders claimed that Charles relied heavily on Camilla for emotional support, leaning on her more than ever as he dealt with his health struggles and the pressures of being king. Others suggested that tensions had been growing behind the scenes, as the stress of their roles took a toll on their relationship. So, the question remains, will Camilla continue to hold power, or will these new challenges bring her reign as queen to an end?